Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Perpetual Backlog, your spot for our rambling on gaming and the state of the wider gaming community. I am your humble and very tired Capybara Dalit, and I'm joined with a man who has linked the fire thrice and has his eyes set on Old Yarnum next, Aqua.
Oh, how the turns have tabled.
Have they indeed? And of course, we have our pizza eating, bad guy beating, queen of the slice herself, Leek Wibble.
I have nothing to say.
Surprise! I did the opening this week. I also was surprised, but hey, here we are.
Oh, thank you, Dalit. Thank you.
Yeah.
For entertaining me for this night.
Hey, it's super easy and not at all something I had to think about.
Yeah. As you said, I've linked the fire twice because remember I skipped Dark Souls 2.
Ah, that is true. Fair enough.
So, and technically I didn't link the fire in Dark Souls 3.
Okay, you're really making my opening seem weak here. That's all I'm saying.
I chose the ending where I got to sit with Mommy Fire and snuff out the light.
Mummy fire.
Yeah, Mommy Fire. She's best mom. Yeah, and I do have my eyes set on Old Yarnum. Coming this Wednesday is where I'll venture in to play Bloodborne. That game needs a patch because I've played a little bit of it over the past day, just messing around with it. 30 frames? No, this game should not work off 30 frames. After playing Dark Souls 3 in a crisp 60 frames with it being beautiful as hell, no, this game needs a patch. Will it get a patch? No. Why won't it get a patch? Because Bluepoint might be working on a Bloodborne remake.
Yeah, that's the rumor.
That's
Oh, really?
Yeah, hopefully. Actually, the most believable part of this rumor is that Bluepoint is working on a remaster for Bloodborne because it doesn't need a remake.
True.
This game
True.
came out. A remaster for Bloodborne, and that they're working on Bloodborne 2. There's rumors going around that Miyazaki gave them the go-ahead to actually continue on Bloodborne 2. Hopefully with Miyazaki behind the helm for the story, at least, because Bluepoint, I think made it clear that they can definitely code a Soulsborne game with Demon Souls.
Oh yeah.
So,
yes.
So that's not a problem at all. It's more the lore that's probably going to be the big issue on that one. But yes, I've played those games. I played Kuro no Kiseki this week. I am in chapter 3. I'm still standing by Vaughn being probably the best Trails protagonist. He's very strong Yuri vibes. I can't understand a word he's saying, but very strong Yuri vibes is what I get from him. Elaine is very fastly taking over Laura's position as waifu in that game. Yeah. And that's
Aqua has no loyalty. It's amazing.
I have loyalty.
He's just here for the new hotness.
No, I'm not here for the new hotness. They just made a rapier wielding sword maiden. Like the only issue, she doesn't have a ponytail, and that's not really much of an issue because she has it braided in the back, so it worked. And she doesn't have blue hair, but it's platinum blonde, so I guess that's okay. They say it's platinum blonde, but the color doesn't really show platinum blonde in game. I guess the way that they did the color, it's more like a brownish blonde, but a very light brown. It's like khaki, honestly.
Let's not call anyone's hair khaki. That feels I don't know why, but that feels like an incredible insult.
It's not an insult. It's a really nice look.
I mean, I know it's a shade of
It's like
color,
tan.
but
It's like a tan hair color.
Yeah.
Is what is.
I've never, ever, ever heard anyone describe someone's hair color as khaki though.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first thing I go to when I think of tan.
What about beige?
She's very elegant in her fighting style. So that's one of her attacks. She like sprouts wings on her feet or whatever, and then like attacks
Ooh.
it. Like she like jumps in like a triangle formation, and like she circles around, but it, like she does a 3-point like triangle or whatever, and like slashes each time she lands. And then her S-craft is that she grows like fucking ether wings or whatever, and just fucking does her business. She's powerful as hell. I get to play her all for like 10 minutes, and then you don't get to play as her, and I'm just like, why you do this to me, game? But I figured out how the morality system works in this game. The only thing it affects is pretty much the people you're gonna have in your party in the final chapters. So, how that works when you're trying to get Spriggan points is a bit weird, because you'll normally want to do all the side quests to get Spriggan points, but some side quests will up like your certain bits of your morality system. So it's weird. I don't know. Like I said, I'm only in chapter 3, so I have no idea. Game's really good. I played Sword Art Online Alicization Like Horus a little bit. Yes, I played a Sword Art Online video game. That's all I will speak about. Next. Who's next?
I'll go because it's easy. I played nothing because I'm
No?
busy still. Nothing, nothing at all actually this week. At least last week I played Guilty Gear, but no, this week nothing. Nada.
Can you talk at all about what you've been busy with?
I was just drawing. I've been doing a lot of drawing. I'm work drawing.
It's Monster
It's all
Month.
really good too.
Yeah. I did work drawing, and also October is the month even to draw many a thing, many artistic.
This is true.
Whatever
So you're taking
hashtag
part
you
in this,
follow.
yes?
Yeah, there's numerous hashtags depending on what you're
Yes.
focusing on.
It's Inktober, it's Kinktober, it's Monster
Yeah, we don't talk
Month.
about Inktober.
don't talk
Inktober
about-
is no good now.
You don't talk about
Drawtober, let's do
Inktober?
that instead. Yeah, the guy who runs it is a shithead. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
So what
Yeah.
hashtag can people
Drawtober.
find you under?
Hashtag
well, let's see.
draw monsters this week.
Drawtober. Yeah,
Nice.
Monster Girl month, or Drawtober.
Okay. Wow, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, you know where to find her now.
Yeah. Ta-da, but that's it. I'm sorry. I'm extremely in perpetual backlog. I am the extreme in this group.
That's fair. Your position is relatable.
Alright,
I
tell us about yourself.
I started 11 last week, and I've been enjoying it as much as I can, which has not been as often as perhaps I would like, but still, there's a lot to like about this. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I've tried to give this game a go in the past, but I kind of just wasn't able to play at my pace. It was all about getting to max cap and joining and doing all the fun endgame stuff. No, that's not for me. But now that I've sat down and I'm running through Sandy's story, and I've gotten a couple of the Rhapsody of Vanadale stuff going, I've really enjoyed it. It's, needless to say, a much, much slower game than 14, which has its upsides. I get to work on things as I play, because things are happening so slowly. And, overall, I see why this game was able to grab people for so long. I don't know how much longer it'll actually grab me after I've finished the last X pack, and that'll still be months from now anyway. But I can see how this would be a thing that people fall into a grind, not unlike 14, and just stay for decades.
Little commented last week asking where does he send his condolences to you for starting 11?
Yeah, well, they can be sent to whatever measly bit of free time I have in my life, which isn't much, which is why I am genuinely thankful the game is so slow. I would not be able to play 14 whilst doing other things. It's too modern, has you doing too many things at the same time. 11? Nah, just hit something. Maybe in 2 minutes I'll be able to weapon skill. It's grand. Hey guys, don't forget to sub to the channel if you're into what you're hearing. While you're down there, remember to like the video as much as we like you. You'll be good now.
I mean, it helps when you have like 4 other people that play 11 and you can just like look off to the side and not do anything
Well,
as well.
yes and no. Yes, because yeah, during those big things that I'm not prepared for, they will absolutely cover me. Like there are things I would walk into just not knowing any better and absolutely die. And yes, there are times where I just let them do the heavy lifting and I go back to writing whatever it is I need to be writing. But honestly, there's also a downside. I'm so far behind them that there is the inclination for them to want to catch me up pretty quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what didn't work the first time. I'm not here to enjoy 11's gameplay. I'm not here to push the envelope in terms of like bleeding edge content. Well, however bleeding edge you can
What?
get in this game. They're still putting out content for it every now and again.
Yeah.
No, I'm just here to kind of fill that pocket in my Final Fantasy stories that I've had open for a while.
Mhm.
I think this is the only one that I haven't played of the main series. So
Hey, you know what you could have done instead of play 11? You could have gotten your fill of
chaos.
our God and Savior Tetsuya Nomura and his ability to write whatever the fuck Stranger of Paradise is.
I yeah, I sure could have. It's a thing that is there. I have access to it, and when I'm not working
Oh, you don't have
all
access to it.
weekend,
It ended. It ended yesterday.
and by have access to it, I meant I had access to it, and I just missed my opportunity. So I'll never know
Mm-hmm.
now. It's a shame, pity. Oh well.
Yep. Last week. It ends on the 11th. Oh, I've got plenty of time. 11th rolls around. Yeah, so I didn't touch it.
It sounds like a knock against it. I genuinely don't care for that game aesthetically, but it felt really good to play as. I hope it does well. I would like to own that game for like $30-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly
The
not 60, certainly not 70.
after going around and watching a few things of like what happens in that demo. So what actually happens, all right, is that after you beat Garland or Chaos Advent or whatever, it turns into the chick. All right.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Uh, she then tells you that chaos doesn't exist and that she prayed to turn herself into chaos so she could hope that somebody comes and beats her and stops the cycle. Uh, which then that's when Jack says bullshit and then starts blaring Limp Bizkit. By the way, he has AirPods. All right, that's nobody else is hearing the music that he's blaring or whatever.
Oh
He
god.
literally
Okay.
has AirPods.
Yeah, this is happening. I want to
And
like this game, but man, these decisions are wild.
Mhm.
the second mission that was put into the demo is literally just Sunless Waterscape from Final Fantasy 13 too.
Was that the Sunlit Waterscape music? Because it did at points sound like that.
Well, the composer for the game is literally the composer for 13 too.
Well, no, there's a difference between.
No, he just put it in there because he wanted to.
Oh man, it is a good theme. I don't know about
Yeah.
that though.
I have a feeling that this game isn't a Final Fantasy 1 thing. I think it might be hitting other Final Fantasy games.
That's what I was saying last week. It's like I'm not sure if this is actually meant to be Final Fantasy One, or or if it's just going to use a couple of like Final Fantasy One isms that people are vaguely familiar with
Because
to tell like a new story.
it's not just the music that is Sunless Waterscape esque. The mission itself is literally in what looks like sunlit waterscape. It even has the things where you switch it from raining to not raining,
Bold
like you do in
choices
13
happening
too.
here. Bold
Yeah.
choices.
I'm not convinced that this isn't just another 13 fucking
Oh
sequel.
my goodness, we get halfway through the game, lightning just turns up.
Are you here to beat chaos?
Chaos? What? No, I'm here to save your souls.
It's darkness now, isn't it?
Chaos. Outside of that gaming, that isn't gaming related, I have put some money down to buy Pokemon cards. I work at Walgreens and I have readily access to getting Pokemon cards before anybody else. So,
Let's make it sound less skeevy. He works there and can buy them.
yeah. I mean, as soon as I pull them out of the thing and put them on the shelf, I'm just like, I might want to put a few aside so I can buy today because they're not going to be there tomorrow. Because literally some guy came in before we even put out a side panel, and he bought all of our mystery packs except for 2 because he let me have 2.
He lets you have 2. Okay.
Yeah, because he was like, because I was talking to him about it. And I was like, yeah, I have a few. I got a few tins or whatever that I'm keeping to the side or whatever for some, if they go up in value, I'll resell them because I don't care about playing Pokemon. The collecting thing is kind of cool, but in the end, it's just an investment. And he was like, hey, you wanna take a couple? I was like, well, I mean, yeah, sure. But he bought like 18 mystery packs. These are $8.99 each, by the way. So he bought like $116 worth of Pokemon cards in one sitting. So, I set a few things aside when that came in. So I bought them today. So I have that, and I've got a binder and everything that I've ordered some stuff for like a binder and sleeves or whatever. So I'm gonna put them away and all that stuff. Also, I'm starting to collect some manga, and by some manga, I mean a specific series. I'll be collecting Black Butler manga, because I actually really like that series. That's actually everything that I have. Anything else you would like to talk about, Dalit?
If you all would like to support the cause of me continuing to have feet, please send all insoles to a P.O. box that we are working on getting together.
Heard that, Dalt likes feet. Go, go, go.
No. Oh dear, what have I set myself up for?
Yeah.
No, it was a long week. My feet just hurt. That's it.
Ah.
No. Well. All right. So we don't have any questions this week. All right. Which is not
Love you,
surprising
Little.
at all. Little's already going to be messaging me going like, "What the fuck is this opening, man?" But we do have a topic, and this topic this week is it's going to start out as Capcom. They decided to announce that they're going to be shifting its main platform over to PC. We've seen this with Monster Hunter coming out on PC, Resident Evil coming out on PC, Ace Attorney coming out on PC, Street Fighter being out on PC. Like most of their main title games are being pushed towards PC, which is kind of weird in my opinion, considering they've had this long history with Sony for a while, and so I don't know if that's like falling out of the equation. But yeah, we're gonna talk about how Capcom is changing the PC and how other companies like Sony, actually primarily Sony, because Sony's been shifting their stuff towards PC as well lately. So yesterday, and by yesterday I mean I don't know if this article came out, but it was within this past week. It was actually right after TGS, if I recall correctly. Shared it intends PC to be its main platform for software, according to Bloomberg. An English recap of a Japanese language Nikkei report. Capcom president and COO Hashiro uh, Sujimoto told the outlet at Tokyo Game Show that it wants the PC to eventually become its primary platform. Also, the publisher wants to have sales from PC games equal that of home consoles within the next 2 years. So that's pretty interesting. I never thought Capcom would act. I mean, I wouldn't say I never thought Capcom would go this way, but like I said, Capcom's always had this like connection with Sony for like the past like 10 to 15 years. And so it's just interesting to see that I guess a lot of like this one big Japanese developer and publisher is seeing the way of the PC now.
Well, my knowledge of Capcom in a meaningful way kind of begins and ends with the fighting game community. I know a
Yeah.
fair chunk about the Monster Hunter side of things too, but that's more recent than not. In the long term, fighting game community has been ruled by consoles. That's just how it's been. It makes sense for this shift to be moving to PC now because that's where everyone else is moving. Besides the obvious advantages that come with being on a PC, because odds are you get to unlock frame rates and, let's be real here, all those fun mods.
Mm-hmm.
You just have a chance of potentially grabbing more people, especially nowadays. I know that PC allows for a larger crossover when it comes to cross platforms. The consoles don't like to play with each other, but for whatever reason, they'll play with PC, despite PC being technically a Microsoft platform.
Yeah.
We're just going to ignore that. So this does make sense. People who have PCs oftentimes have consoles, so you can kind of double dip this way. And PC has been gaining more traction over the years. It's always been the case. PC's always been gaining traction because they become more and more viable to build for yourself.
Mm.
Capcom has actually had like a bunch of killers on PC for a while. Uh, I know Street Fighter 4 was on PC. I know Street Fighter 5 was, despite being made for Sony, eventually came to PC pretty soon after.
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter World was on PC after a time.
Yep.
The new Monster Hunter Rise is now coming out, and they're launching the new expansion on PC as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea which Resident Evils are not on PC right now.
I think almost every single one of them are.
Exactly. So, like, the PC has been for a long time used as a secondary source of just having a space to put your IPs. Like, we've launched them on the consoles, they've run through their environment. Let's put them on PC and see if we can make any extra money. And now it just seems like, well, we have all of this backlog, and backwards compatibility is not a problem for PCs more often than not. So, like,
My question
realistically,
is,
hmm?
if I may interrupt, my question is, so Microsoft doesn't have this problem, not because Microsoft consoles are now basically these, but they have the Game Pass stuff. Do you think that Sony will try to do something similar? They've been touting something in the works, but do you think with this like moved over to PC, do you think they'll try something very similar?
um, yes and no. Yes, obviously, I think that that Sony is going to want to compete with Game Pass because people just can't say enough good things about it,
Yeah.
and Sony can't not have seen that. I don't know that that's going to transfer over to anything on the PC side of things. The last time we heard Sony mentioning the PC, it seemed like it was very much a case of them wanting to uh, get it right. Like, these aren't just quick ports like it used to be. Like, they seem to really be putting out versions for it. And another issue with Sony doing this is they've only done it with the first party stuff so far, I believe.
Yeah. So there
Um,
was an article in April that said PlayStation is working on a counterpunch to Xbox's Game Pass. This was claimed by David Jaff.
David Jaffe.
Yeah. I
So
wonder. Oh, it's PlayStation Now. Already
No,
has
Oh,
how many?
PlayStation Now isn't really. So it's kind of a band-aid on the. I wouldn't say band-aid, but it's kind of like a thing that you could use for kind of in competition with Game Pass, but
Yeah.
it's a streaming game service or whatever. You don't download the game or whatever. You stream the game.
what's worse
Yeah.
about PlayStation Now is for like the last 4 or 5 years, it's had a pretty bad reputation. Not
Mm.
Yeah.
because necessarily of anything that it has or hasn't done, though honestly, it's had a pretty poor selection. But like just in general, it seems that every time you look something up, it's just touted as one of the biggest failures. That like you can't have that be the future of the company going forward.
Yeah, yeah. May I
So
read a quote?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, just to iterate what I said, what I can tell you, says Jeff, I know they are doing stuff because I know people at Sony who have told me that they're doing stuff. To say, he continued, there will be a response to Game Pass. What is we don't know, Jeff said. Here's what I would say I worry about. If Jim Ryan thinks a proper response to Game Pass is to emulate backwards compatibility PS3 games, PS2, PS1, and then to also add trophies, which is what the patent suggests they're going to do, they're also going to fold in all the movies and shit like a streaming service. He's absolutely wrong if he thinks that making it with PS Now is the way to go. That's what he thinks. And then he goes on to say, that would make me go, I don't think the man has a clue because there's not going to be, they're not going to compete with Game Pass. I don't know if that's the case. But I don't think Jim Ryan is ready to throw at the bus under the bus at all. And then he goes on about the article is about cloud gaming like that.
Yeah. It's hard to argue with Jeff because obviously he has a better foot in the door than any of us. He's gonna have actual ears with people who make actual decisions.
Mm.
And yet, I can't help but think he's wrong. Because we have, with the PS5 specifically, seen the budding sprouts of what the Game Pass could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look because that was from April. There is an article from August. I think it still goes on about PlayStation.
I don't think Now can be it. Now is too laggy. It's not responsive enough. It's doesn't have the
Yeah.
selection, and neither does the current PlayStation Plus like free deluge of games. But it's a solid foundation with a lot of
Mm.
really strong titles,
Yeah.
and this is how you birth something. Like all of those titles are really, really good.
Yeah. It's a bunch of great first-party titles that if you have PlayStation Plus, you get them for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only issue is I don't think they can do that with third parties the way that Microsoft has. I still don't know what Magic Microsoft has done, not only to get such a wide variety of content on Game Pass, but to have things launch on it.
They're
That's the
they're
one thing that
they're,
blows my mind.
they're just paying the
Mm.
publishers fat stacks of cash, man. You mean they literally bought ZeniMax
Well,
for
yeah,
like
obviously.
$4.7 billion. So I think they're giving the publishers just like fat stack sums and be like, yeah, well, this will probably be more than what you actually get from sales. So we'll just throw you onto Game Pass where everybody can play it for free. But they have to pay us $15 a month, and we'll just give you like fucking $1 billion. Well, not $1 billion, but probably like fucking like 400 million or something like that, depending on the game and the publisher.
Yeah, I don't see how it makes profit. Because I mean,
So
Phil Spencer has said it makes profit, and even if
it
that's like, even if it's only making $1, the fact that it's not in the red is astounding.
yeah. The thing with PlayStation's not as big as a company as Microsoft is. All right, because while PlayStation has its like, or while Sony has its like other stuff that they sell like TVs and they have their movie section and all that stuff that they get money from. the PlayStation section of Sony itself is a bit more isolated when it comes to Sony. They have their own money that they specifically just deal with, and that's why you see them randomly, like not as much as like as Microsoft does, because Microsoft's just throwing money at fucking people's faces. That's why you see them just like randomly grabbing first party people. Like, I mean, just recently they bought out Bluepoint, or
Well, that
they
makes sense.
acquired
They've had this working
Bluepoint.
relationship for years.
Yeah. So, but they don't, obviously they don't go out and buy a bunch of like publishers or developers,
Yeah, that's fair.
as much as Microsoft does. So they don't have the money, the fuck you money that Microsoft does. So it'll be interesting to see what they attempt to do with to combat Game Pass, because they cannot pay their third party developers enough money to put them on a Game Pass equivalent thing. At least in my opinion. Now, I mean that could change depending, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to possibly acquire more developing studios and have a bunch of games that are first party, and that they might move towards a type of Game Pass thing like they have with the PS Plus.
Yeah, just have PS Plus be the subscription.
That in itself, once they actually start doing something like that, I assume PS Plus will actually increase in price.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just on the because, like, I mean, Microsoft is double dipping. You have to like, Xbox Game Pass is not Xbox Live Gold or whatever, so you have to buy two different things for that. So maybe Sony like splits like Plus from a Game Pass equivalent thing, and have two subscriptions, or maybe they just keep it all under one, and that they'll increase like the PlayStation Plus subscription by like $10, which I'm not against. I've had a PlayStation Plus for like the past like 3 years, and I don't even think about it. I look on my what is it, my my bank statement every 3 months, and I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah, I have PlayStation Plus. So yeah, but moving back like onto like the PC like section for it, even Sony's pushing for a lot of their like first party developers and a lot of their third party developers. A lot of the third party developers for Sony is also going to PlayStation, because Horizon Zero Dawn, Guerrilla Games isn't. I'm pretty sure it's not a first party developer for Sony. Who's Days Gone by? Days Gone. Okay, Days Gone, I think it is a first party developer, because it's that studio in California. I'm gonna skip that. Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain, and Detroit. Those games are specifically on PlayStation only, outside of like the Epic Game Store thing that they have with for Quantum. That they're I don't know if they're first party either. Like a lot of these games
of bookkeeping, Guerrilla Games is in fact a Sony Interactive Entertainment first party.
Okay, so all right, so that is Days Gone is by a first party. I think Quantum Games is first party as well, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Kojima's not first party.
No, Kojima has a partnership with Sony at the moment, but that can change at either company's will.
He is the rumor is he's talking with Microsoft about another
with Microsoft
game.
Right now, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Journey is an indie game developer, but I'm pretty sure they only specifically do
that games company. I'll tell you about this. So that games company does games for the Switch. Well, it has ports on the Switch, mobile, and console, and I guess PC as well.
So they're not first party.
No, no.
And neither is Ninja Theory. Because Ninja Theory has done PC ports of Neo, and like those weren't they were always timed exclusive games. because Neo 1 came out right before came out on PC right before Neo 2 came out on the PlayStation, and then I think like a year later Neo 2 came out on PC, or maybe it came out at the same time. I can't remember. So it's a bit of a mixed thing, actually, because I know Sony's pushing for some of their first party titles, because you didn't put down Uncharted, because Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy is coming
I
to PC.
completely forgot that it's true.
It's a bit of a mixed thing. Maybe they have like like an email out to like all the people that like make their games for PlayStation, and they're like, hey, we'll advertise you guys going to PC if you want to do some PC stuff. Push, get more money. But who knows? It's very interesting. It's like the console war is devolving into not being a console war anymore and just being an all around like PC and console just being an all around gaming platform in general, which is what it should be.
I'm gonna let you in on a little something.
Uh-huh.
The console
Yes.
wars only ever mattered to console fanboys.
Yeah, this is true.
The companies were too busy raking in money to care.
Now this is all excluding Nintendo.
Yeah, they're a problem child in this regard.
Yeah.
They
Nintendo
do
will
what they
never
want.
they will never make a game for PC, and like their first party games will never come to PC.
Which is
third party games will, because I mean,
they're
obviously
third party. They don't own. Microsoft doesn't own them. Nintendo doesn't own them.
They will always buy out timed exclusivity, though. That will be like, you have to have this, has to be on the Switch or on whatever Nintendo console for 6 months to a year, and then after that you are able to do whatever you want.
I think that's the only successful way for them to do this. Nintendo is, whilst being a major company that's in many ways super respected, they do not have the structure to make anyone want to be a first party studio for them. It limits them so much. So buying timed exclusivity is a pretty solid way of saying, okay, no, we'll work for you for this outing, and if it's successful, we'll come back. And if it's not, we have the option to go anywhere else we want.
Unless your name's Kamiya.
Well,
then you specifically develop specifically develop Bayonetta for Nintendo.
Well, that's mostly because Kamiya has an attitude problem and has beef with both Sony and Microsoft now.
Yeah.
So it's genuinely just on principle. He refuses to work with those two, despite, and I say this absolutely enamored with what I've seen of Bayonetta 3. That looks like the worst system for it to be on right now.
Oh, it is the worst system for it to be on.
That is not a good system for a game like that.
Imagine PC Bayonetta 3.
I can't imagine this, because do you know what Bayonetta 1 is?
On PC.
It's on Switch, it's on PS3, and it's on PC.
Yeah.
Runs real good, too.
It's I don't know. It's just weird. I'm waiting to see, because Sony's like kind of has a push, but its push has been like slightly half-assed. In its push to go to PC, because
I'm not sure why that slowed down either. This isn't even something you can blame on COVID, I don't think. I do recognize that there is a substantial amount of development that goes into a port, but it feels like this is more something has scared them from going all in. And I don't know what it is, because they're still putting out titles, just so slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Sony could make a huge impact in the PC market, forget new titles. Throw your backlog in there.
Oh god, yeah.
If you do that, you have what people thought they were getting from Nintendo on PC. Fuck it, I'll pay for like all my old PS3 titles again. Like, put up the Blue Point, Metal Gear Legacy. I will buy that tonight for PC.
I mean, there is that rumor that there,
Don't
there, there is a
don't
rumor that
don't
Blue
give me
Point's
hope.
work that well, actually no. There's not a rumor. It's actually been confirmed. There is a
Hmm.
there is a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake in the works.
Yeah.
I think I looked that to you guys a couple of days ago.
I have seen separate sources too.
Yeah, there is a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. It's by like Vision Studios or
You
some of the
can't
stuff.
make me believe this until I see it. Because that is the best game to remake in the Fox engine, and if Virtua Studios is actually doing this,
Yeah, Virtuous.
I will absolutely say all the nice things I have to say. Like
uh,
Virtuous, listen, Habibi, let's make music together.
Metal Gear Solid 3 remake in development at an external Chinese studio early in development. MGS remasters re-releases are planned for modern consoles. So, yeah, I just mean like it's. I think the next 5 years in console and PC gaming is going to be really interesting. Um, the
Well, that
only
was
thing that
already promised to us, if you think about it.
was it though.
Yeah, Microsoft has already said, and this is like the biggest advantage that Microsoft has right now, that they are going to just make PCs Xbox. That is, the Xbox and PCs are now both in the same.
Category
What's the word? What's the word they were saying? They were very specific.
family.
Whatever, but exactly, like they want to treat them as essentially they want to treat PCs as an Xbox system, and if they can actually go through on that, that will be massive for them
Yeah.
because it means games that come out like any third party games that is coming out on everything, Microsoft gets to double dip. Console players get it on 360, no Xbox, whichever Xbox they choose because you have options now, and PC.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2/3 of the well, of the realistic market for the people they'll be aiming after. The
Yeah, because they're
downside
not.
is we've already seen that that's kind of a lot of talk, and at the moment, their PC Game Pass is not equitable to the console version. So it's a really good dream, and I want to see it made real, but you need to
It's
actually do it.
it's getting there because I keep seeing a bunch of games pop up on my Xbox app. Um, Fairly frequently, like a bunch of new games. Because I mean, you have the whole Yakuza series on Game
Mhm.
Pass, and you get them all on PC. I'm looking at Forza's gonna be on PC.
I've been saying
Um,
for years, I don't see why this is a thing that hasn't happened. I don't know why PC suddenly had like the harder time to port for. So like when Microsoft gets it together and they really figure it out and they can get things out, maybe not even same day, but in a realistic time between the two, it'll be massive.
yeah, I agree.
And I think your time frame is pretty solid for that.
Yeah, next 5 years, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking at this list right now. There's. I mean, there's a lot of games that I don't don't and probably wouldn't play. Um, but I mean, all of Halo's on PC other than Halo 5. Um, Slime Ranchers on fucking all the Yakuza games are on PC. Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm just waiting, like, cause I do want game PC Game Pass to be as good as the Xbox Game Pass is. Uh, and that's just the push from Microsoft to get its developers to, hey, make a PC port or figure out a way to I guess easily emulate Xbox games on PC. So who knows?
I guarantee you the first company to have their entire library on PC wins.
Oh, it'll be
They
Microsoft.
they win for like that segment of like the generation. That's going to be massive.
Yeah, that will be Microsoft hands down because they're already
They're
their
already
foot's
doing it.
already there.
Exactly. Like
Um,
like, and don't get me wrong, I definitely understand that new games will always be more profitable than having to put more money into older titles, but do not look down on nostalgia. There are some games that you don't need to remaster or remake, or just put them up and make them available.
yep.
That's all people are asking for.
Shit, I'm still sitting here waiting for Sony to give me the fucking PS3 Tales titles on modern
Yeah, and
consoles.
that's gonna be the biggest stumbling block, is that Sony made this awful, awful infrastructure for the PS3, and it's crippled their ability to go back and make those games playable in the future, and they have to figure it out. They
Yeah.
have to. You cannot just leave a whole generation of games 15 years ago.
But you know what hasn't left a whole generation of games 15 years ago?
What's that?
Emulation.
No, no, quite the opposite, actually.
No, no. I
Nice
like to
segue.
preface. Yeah, nice. Okay. I'll I'll preface this with I am not against emulation. All right. Um, there are some bad things when it comes to emulation, like people's attitudes towards the reason why they emulate. Some of them, as of I saw earlier today, where yeah, fuck Nintendo. While my general statement, I agree with fuck Nintendo. All right, but don't emulate their games just because you don't want to give them money. All right. That's not the correct reason to emulate games, all right? Correct reason to emulate games is one, the Super Nintendo has been what, like 25 to 30 years since it's been out. Um it's not very easy to get a Super Nintendo, but by God, there's a fucking emulator for it. And Microsoft gets, I mean, not Microsoft, God, fucking Microsoft. Nintendo gets zero of any money that you've spent towards a Super Nintendo or any Super Nintendo games at this point in time. All right. So there's literally absolutely no reason to not emulate a Super Nintendo. But I have seen a lot of people with the attitude, at least of today, because Kotaku came out with a nice. Man, don't you just love Kotaku?
I don't
Kotaku's
know
like
how they dropped the ball this hard. I
Kotaku.
genuinely don't know.
Kotaku's
I
such
was
a
very surprised. Yeah.
I
fucking
thought it was
great.
someone memeing on them. I didn't think it was real.
I wonder how. I wonder. Kotaku article. I wonder if I could just type in.
So let's explain. So let's explain this article, shall we?
Yeah, go ahead.
Metroid Dread just came out a couple days ago. Is already running on Switch emulators. All right. Now, this is the title of the article at the moment. But Kotaku tweeted out earlier today that, wow, Metroid Dread is already running really great on emulators, which is one of their lovely ways of saying, hey, if you if you emulate Switch games, fucking emulate Dread because it runs really well. Don't give Nintendo any money. Anyway, Kotaku they stated, you can emulate Dread on the Switch. It works really well. It's not something a game like article company should really promote, because that's kind of just promoting piracy.
Yeah, that is the issue. The idea of emulation as preservation is valid.
Yeah.
There are just some companies, and I am going to call out Nintendo for this pretty hard, that put out a product and then forget about it. It's done. It's like old toys. You make one and then you make a new thing. Why would you ever go back to play the old thing? People do want that though, so having a means of preserving that is good. Emulation as piracy is not good.
No, it's not.
Just because there's a means of you getting your hands on it for free doesn't mean that the people who made it don't still deserve to get paid for their services.
Yeah.
So the issue with Kotaku, for me at least, is how piss poor their writing was about this and the discord that it started up because of the poor writing. Enjoying the video? Remember to like and sub. Helps out the channel a bunch, and we're grateful for everyone we get. If you're going to cover emulation, you have to cover it as preservation. You have to cover it as the specific good thing. Otherwise, people will all immediately kind of just jump on the worst aspect. You don't have to pay for the X game from X company. And because X company is a company, it's fine if you don't pay for it. And that discourse not only is wrong and toxic, but is baffling to me. The game
Gamers are
was
entitled,
2
man.
days old. The fact that no editor at Kotaku read through that and thought, maybe now is not the correct time to put this out. Maybe we cover either Metroid on its own or emulation as a topic, but maybe we don't mix those just yet. It's stunning that they let this happen. And yes, they are correct. From what I've seen on whichever emulator it is, I forget the name, Metroid runs and runs well, and that is in fact a good thing. Because as we've seen from decades of previous generations at this point, Microsoft, Nintendo is probably never going to go back to this. It's not going to bring Metroid Dread up to the newest Switch or console when they move on. And who knows how long before the online version allows for us to go and emulate it. I think they're only getting around to 64 games now.
Yeah.
So yes, for preservation, that's fine.
There
But
was an update.
You cannot direct people to a new game.
There was an update to the article. There was an update to the article. An earlier version of this story was understood by many readers to be a direct suggestion to illegally download this just-released game. We regret this interpretation. Kotaku believes emulation is a vital part of the world of gaming, not least when it comes to game preservation. Not directly encouraging anyone to break the law and download games they have not purchased. We believe our readers are intelligent adults capable of making such choices for themselves, independently of us. So I did a little bit of saving face there. But yeah,
we're just not going to talk about the fact that they directly linked to 2 open source emulators and mentioned.
Did they as well?
Yeah. Via the popular Yuzu open source emulator and another Switch emulator, Ryujinx. So yeah, they absolutely did. This is them saving face.
Yeah, we're trying to save face, but
exactly.
doing
and
it
I'm not going to let them get
poorly.
away with that. This, if you're going to cover emulation. If you're going to cover Dread. You cannot do what they did and then pretend like you weren't even partially advocating for piracy.
Yeah, fuck that. If they link directly to an emulator,
They linked to 2 of them.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
They linked to 2 of them.
Yeah, fuck that. They're just. And then the audacity is saying, "Well, our readers are adults. I'm sure they'll make the correct decision. I'm sure they won't. Blah blah blah." They're just shifting responsibility. You like as a journalist, you do. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, all that is, it's like, oh crap, we really did that. Holy crap, guys, we were not thinking. Piracy's bad, by the way. Don't do it. We're going to scrap those links. See you soon. But to pass off blame to the readers is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's like, hey guys, all the cool people do drugs. Don't do drugs, but all the cool people do drugs. Hands opens hand out the drugs. All the cool people don't do drugs. You don't want to do drugs, but all the cool people do drugs. Come on guys.
Anyways, I'll see you in the alley out back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, if we get caught, it's not our fault. You made the decision.
Yeah. Man, Kotaku's never been a good place to get your information from. They've made
Problem is, it has so many good writers that genuinely, apparently, just needs a decent editor.
there's
Because
a
a decent editor literally sees that and goes, "Whoa, no. What?
like,
Absolutely not."
there's a reason Jason Schreier does not work
Oh,
Kotaku
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, he took right off and, solid choice, fair enough. I definitely see why. There's no reason for Kotaku to be consistently in the headlines for poor reasons. They have a bunch of competent people that can put words on a page about a topic that people care about.
hmm
They just need a filter, or at least someone with a brain, I guess.
Yeah. But
Who
yeah,
is the
no, like
current editor in charge over there?
who knows, man.
Whatever. It's not our job to shame the company. Everyone is already doing that. So
Literally Kotaku is synonymous with the word shame. Um we like so when it comes to emulating, there I will, as much as I hate Nintendo, and as much as I have contemplated um doing a Switch emulator. I did also have a Switch and bought many games on the Switch, so I mean, technically, I've given Nintendo my money. I would not do it until like 10 years from now. That being said, I'm pretty okay with PS3 and on, like from that point to later on, when it comes to emulating, because Sony is also one that doesn't really show that they want to preserve their stuff. They literally
agreed.
tried to
Agreed.
axe their service on PS3. So
Yeah, the one of the previous men in charge, I forget his name at the moment, literally said, "I did not know people played old games. Why would you play an old one? We have all these
oh
new
no,
ones."
that's Jim Ryan.
Is it Jim Ryan? Really?
Jim Ryan said, "Why would you play older games when there's new
Yeah.
games out?" He
It's
literally said that.
staggering. It's literally like, do you not like old movies? Because it's the same concept.
So yeah, no,
But they're all pixely and 32-bit. Ew.
Look at all the pixels. It's so jagged.
and I mean, you also run into like, so a lot of people will say that, well, you can do all this graphical stuff with the emulators. Games don't run near the level that they should be running on an emulator. You always want to use actual, like, specific hardware. That's why the RetroTinks is a great way to play old games, or old like SNES games and all that stuff, because they take your console and it's like actual hardware, and they beef up the graphics that way, instead of like having like software emulation just doesn't let your games run the way it should. I've actually noticed that with a couple of games that I had on a PS. But no, it's always a mixed bag with me with emulation, because I don't ever want to really emulate, but there are some games that I like legitimately have to emulate because there's like no way I can actually play any of these games.
Yeah, I'll openly admit
what,
to emulating games. I just tend to emulate games that I own.
yeah,
Like,
well,
I emulate
without
games that I
dishing
own
out hundreds of
because,
dollars.
well, yeah, like, so I no longer have a PSP. I imagine a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people no longer have a PSP.
Same.
My favorite Monster Hunter game until recently is on the PSP. The game I put most time into was Monster Hunter Portable Third.
Mm-hmm.
I still play that game. I paid for that game twice. I don't feel bad about emulating it. So
Same with me. I
there's
had a
no other way for me
PSP.
to get my hands on it. If there
I had a
were, I would buy
PSP.
it.
I bought God, how many games did I buy on my PSP? I bought Duodecium. I bought um, Birth by Sleep, Crisis Core. All games I have no problem with emulating. Well, I don't need to emulate Birth by Sleep because I've got like 4 different ways to play that game.
Exactly. That's the point, right? You have other ways of getting to it.
Because Square knows how to make sure you can play some of your older games on different ways. They still haven't done anything with Crisis Core yet. Waiting.
But they kind of are doing that. They're kind of
Oh.
trying to do something like that. You don't just have certain characters pop up in certain other games for no reason.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a mixed bag. Like I said, I'll emulate. I have a PS2 emulator. I own a PS2, and I own a couple of PS2 games. But I also have a PS2 emulator because hooking up my PS2 is kind of a chore. Especially now that I don't have monitors that have component cables on them.
Yeah.
So, so I play I play Need for Speed Underground occasionally, or shit, that's all I play on my PS2 emulator. Yeah, no, as long as you're doing it for game preservation, that's okay. Using it just to say, hey, fuck this company, I'm not giving this company any money. No, you're the problem. So.
Yeah, there was a disappointing amount of people saying, I pirate all Nintendo games. I was never going to buy it. It doesn't actually hurt the company. And I see why they think that's a fair stance, but no, my guy,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Like I said, I'm the first one to come out to say I hate Nintendo. All right, and like I've sold my Switch and all my Nintendo games. I mean, I own a Wii U, but I literally own a Wii U because there was one game on the Wii U that I wanted to at least try out, and that was Xenoblade Chronicles X. But I mean, I'm almost never gonna hook that motherfucker up. And I'm like, but I will still not condone people, literally not people, emulating a game that came out 2 days ago. At least wait a year. God, it's too soon. Too soon. All right. And Kotaku.
I don't think it's about time. I think it's about the mindset. Like anyone who picked up Dread on the emulator after having it just released says a lot about how they feel about the topic, and it's clearly not about preservation for them.
Here's what I don't understand. All right, the people that are emulating Dread have to be Metroid fans, because I look at Metroid and I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, it's a fucking, like, I don't even know what is Metroid, like, what's the, it's a Metroid game. All right,
it has Metroid. Trust me, a Metroid is self-defined. It literally gave birth to the Metroidvania.
Yeah.
So it's in the name.
If you're emulating a Metroid game,
it's very classic gameplay. It's good.
Yeah. If you're emulating a Metroid game, wouldn't at some point in time you were probably a Metroid fan, which means you were probably a Nintendo fan and you probably have Nintendo console? Like, I don't understand this here. I understand, like, people that are like, no, I don't understand, because I don't look at Metroid games. I'm like, oh man, I want to play a Metroid game. I'm not a Nintendo fan, so, but that's just me. Maybe people just like Castlevania type games, and that's kind of like a...
Yeah, maybe it would be interesting to some, like, I don't know how we would ever do this, but like a sort of survey or something, like the demographic of people who choose to emulate and why, and their backgrounds or gaming history.
If only we had the reach.
It's actually a really tough one to parse anyway. It's like when the conversation came up between pirating movies and streaming, and how streaming, when it was consolidated, led to a deep cut in piracy. But now that it's spreading out again, we're seeing piracy on the rise. So that's kind of one of those difficult things to parse, no matter how well you ask the question.
Yeah. But no, that's actually that's all we wanted to hit on this week. There's actually not too much news we could talk about. Oh wait. Sora's and Smash.
What?
No, I was so sad for Waluigi. That Waluigi was.
I would love to agree with you, except even Sakurai says, yeah, no, we've actually been waiting for 2 generations to get all this together to get him in. My
I
opinion,
don't
do
care.
another DLC run. This game is still profitable. Put more characters in. That's how I feel. But I know Sakurai's probably tired. I know his dev team's probably burnt out on this particular title. And I know Nintendo as a company probably wants to get started on the next one.
Well, he's
Oh,
he's
that
got sassier and sassier, so I
Oh,
don't
it's been
know.
so great watching his patience fray and him just
well, Dalit, they're not doing another Smash game.
yeah, huh? Sure.
Actually, I actually do not believe they're going to do another Smash game.
They
There's
will
you
absolutely do another Smash
you cannot
game.
get better
Smash
than the,
is core to
you
well,
cannot get better than the Smash
what
game.
you were about to say is entirely true. There will never be another Smash game quite like this one. It's just not feasible. But there will
I don't know.
absolutely be another Smash game because it's one of the foundational pieces of any Nintendo console.
Yeah, so
That's
look
even
forward to
Nintendo.
Bash Bros 2 and 1 and everything else. Bash Bros. That's Super Bash Bros battle.
I Sakurai, like, I don't play Smash. I never will play Smash, for obvious reasons. This guy's a god. I couldn't imagine the negotiations he had to do to get Sora in the game.
I wonder. Because it's clearly not with Square, because Square doesn't own the rights to bloody anything of that game anymore. So it was all
No.
with Disney, right?
Yeah, it had to all be with Disney.
And Disney has a working relationship with Nintendo, or they used to anyway. Like they're old bedfellows. I wonder how difficult it actually was.
I read it costed them $400,000 to have that Mickey emblem on the screen for 12 seconds.
Okay, so I saw that too, and I
Yeah.
don't believe it for an instant because that doesn't make any sense to either company.
Yeah, my question was going to be like how much was the licensed character?
You 100% have to know that it having that Mickey emblem costed them a lot, because that Mickey emblem does not show up anywhere other than that Keyblade. They
It's
removed
true.
it off of everything.
Yeah,
They
it's
removed
true, but
everything Disney off of that.
that's fine. But again, my point is Nintendo has had like actual partnerships with Disney in the past.
Sakurai's first thing he also said was they don't have any more budget.
So funny thing about this, recently both Sakurai and Katsuhiro Harada sat down to have a conversation. And at first, I'm sure people are thinking Harada has nothing to do with Smash. What are you talking about, Dalit? He does. Bandai Namco makes Smash.
Yeah,
I know.
yes,
I know
Bandai
it's
Namco
weird to
makes Smash.
hear, but Bandai Namco makes Smash. And Sakurai was like, I didn't have the budget to do this, that, and the other. And Harada, his response to that was literally, "No, yeah, you. I don't know if you know how much money you have on this. So like, I don't know if like, because Sakurai obviously he's going to be a company guy, and I don't know, like Harada just didn't get the memo, but he was like, "You absolutely had this. What?"
I don't know. Maybe
And like,
Nintendo told him he didn't have the budget to do it.
that's possible. But yeah, I've never once believed that Super Smash Brothers was on a shoestring budget. That doesn't make sense. But to hear that like they get all of this stuff done with no money just doesn't make sense. Look at the game.
Yeah.
That game not only makes money, is made of money. But let's be real here. It's not like Disney is a sensible company. They don't need to be. They just need to They just need you to foot the bill to have their stuff in. Maybe it did cost an arm and a leg to get Mickey's emblem, not even Mickey, just his little mousy emblem on that. I just don't believe it.
Yeah. So when
I
did
think
Harada
both
say
companies
this?
came. Oh God, like a couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah, they had a sit down interview with each other. Where they just talked
Okay.
about stuff. It was
I was
really
like,
weird. Did you know that
maybe
Sakurai can't drink water?
he can't. What?
Say what?
So he can
I
obviously
agree with Sakurai here. I can't drink water either, but
it's probably going to be for a similar reason. He has an addiction to sugar.
you see, I don't have an addiction to sugar because I've been drinking this like water with the flavoring in it that has no sugar in it at all.
Yeah,
Um,
Sakurai cannot drink water straight. It's why he says he lives on Diet Coke.
so you know what? That actually, I think that is the same thing. I think that is
Yeah.
the same thing then.
Yeah, I think it's very similar.
I cannot stand the taste of water.
Now, I don't have this issue, so I thought it was really weird. But like you're saying right now, a lot of people are like, yeah, no, I have that. I'm like, okay. See, we found out a lot of weird things. Sakurai's like, I don't want anyone to think I'm weird, and then follows it up with, but I can't drink water. What?
I know.
Okay.
My boy Sakurai representing. I understand, man. No, because I was just wondering because like maybe he did have this budget, all right, but maybe Sora took up the rest of this budget.
That I can entirely believe.
Because like maybe if Sora wasn't in the game, maybe they could have put in a couple more characters. But
Well,
maybe Sora
I'll be honest.
Costed.
I think this game. I think Nintendo does actually want to move on to like the next one because now they're only making $5 to $7, where they could be making another 60 for a brand new one.
Yeah,
I think this just comes down to like a corporate type of thing. But yeah, and I will happily admit that Sora is without a doubt the biggest investment Smash has made to grab a character. He has to be, because who's the next biggest guest character in terms of like pay to put on screen? My gut says Snake,
yeah. Honestly, Snake.
and there's no way he costs much. So
Oh, actually, you don't know, man. Either Cloud or Sephiroth probably costed maybe not near as much as Sora, but they probably cost more than Snake.
I wonder because they went back to the well on that. After
Maybe.
Cloud, they did put in Sephiroth.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this goes back to my points. I don't think it was that bad. I think people like the story. They like the drama that this is a dream that's almost a decade in the making. They've wanted Sora since Kingdom Hearts 1. There's been this big strife to get him in. It must cost so much money. It's like 400 grand to put Mickey's face on screen for 12 seconds. It's huge.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, even if that's all true, I don't care. To be fair, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm simple. They played to the czar. Like they played to me. KH1 Sora came in with that orchestral version of Simple and Clean and shook Mario's hand, and they had the Kingdom Hearts 2 fight with Seth. I was in my feelings. I teared up a little bit when the boy came through. It was great. I loved it. So yeah, I'm happy it happened. I look forward to seeing a Smash Brothers in the next 2, maybe 3 years. And
Give
I'm
them
so
more
sorry,
time.
Nintendo, because you're gonna have your goal set so high, and it's not gonna reach as high.
No.
I don't even know that Sakurai will be back to direct. I think he's finished with the series.
We just need a Smash on PC.
Well, we had that once upon a time.
No, we have that now. Actually, it's called Nickelodeon.
Oh God, yes. I hear it's actually all right.
All right. What are we doing this week? What's on the docket?
Well, I have a lot of stuff I need to catch up on. I have a lot of stuff that's due in the next hour and a half that I need to get done. I'll probably be playing more 11. I guess I thought I was gonna have time to do Stranger of Paradise, but that's now gone. So I genuinely don't know what else I'll be getting into.
I will attempt to play a game somehow.
No. More Kuro. Bloodborne. God, am I playing any other games? I mean, I might do the Sword Art Online game. I don't know. I haven't touched the Tales collaboration yet. I will at some point in time. Maybe not this week. Who knows?
We'll see.
We will see. God, am I playing another game? Am I? Oh, actually, I need to play a little bit more of Super Robot Wars X because next week we're having a Super Robot Wars episode with
Yeah.
our boy
Guest
Sly.
Sly.
He is
Yeah.
so excited to be on and talk about robots. Probably to the fact that
do your homework, Alco.
probably to the fact that he'll probably host the show.
I'm fine with him leading it, honestly.
I am here to learn, Sly.
He's gonna be like, sit in your goddamn chairs and open your goddamn books. We're gonna learn about robots.
Man, I don't know, man. Three Houses turned me around on the combat system. Maybe it's time I gave it another shot.
I mean, from what I played, it's not bad. I gotta sit down because I need to get to chapter or whatever, scenario 18 or whatever, because that's when I get my Code Geass characters. I'm playing on beginner, so I don't have to worry about any of this SP bullshit that Sly was telling me about the other week. Because you don't get any SP. And I just want to get them, and I want to pump all my money into Code Geass characters and run with the Code Geass team.
Get Super Robot Wars. Beelines to the nightmare frames. All right.
Yeah, I mean, so in Slash Stream, I'm Team Supers, right? But I'm actually Team Reals because, I'm not a Gundam person and all that nonsense. But I love me some nightmare frames. So I've got to play more than that so I can hopefully have a cohesive conversation with Sly next week.
It's all on you. I haven't played one of those games since forever.
It doesn't matter. This is a robot appreciation podcast.
Oh yeah, this podcast appreciates robots, real and super.
So
Yep.
So Sly's gonna be telling us drinking our goddamn tea, and he's gonna be like, you sit down and we're gonna learn about robot. So yeah, that's what we have planned for next week. And that's all I'm doing this week. I'm probably gonna play a lot of Bloodborne. I have some days set aside with some friends to play Bloodborne. So yeah. Will I be streaming this? No, because who streams Souls games? Nobody. Because
get invaded.
That community is trash. Souls community is trash. I hate every invader, except for this one invader I had in Dark Souls 3. I'll tell you guys about it after we end. But yeah, that's
all right, everybody.
That's what's gonna be for this week.
You will be good. Take care now.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Perpetual. Nope, after that again, I have broadcast. I want Backlog. Before you go, remember to like, comment, and sub to us. Not only does it help out the channel and let us know what you're into, but it also makes you 100% cooler than everybody else. I checked with Aqua. It's definitely true.